Horton's World Mythology welcomes you. What if the god you prayed to was not what he seemed? Zeus, king of the gods, was both protector and destroyer, a ruler of profound contradiction. Was he a wise guardian of order, or the most dangerous being ever imagined? Myths reveal a god consumed by paranoia, lust and vengeance. Tonight we explore the dual nature of Zeus, revered protector, feared tyrant. To understand Zeus is to grapple with the nature of power itself. Born under a prophecy, he escaped his father Cronus and led a violent revolution to claim Olympus. Zeus learned that power must be seized and guarded fiercely. He established a new order, dividing realms with his brothers and ruling as lawgiver, yet absolute power corrupted him, driving paranoia and harsh punishments. Zeus was both hero and tyrant, a reflection of the dangers and duality of power. Before Zeus, there was Cronus. Before Olympus, there was Mount Othrys. The world was not ruled by gods, but by the mighty Titans, a race of powerful primordial deities who embodied the raw forces of nature. Their king was Cronus, the youngest son of Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth. Cronus had seized power in a brutal act of patricide, overthrowing his own father to claim dominion over the cosmos. But with his newfound authority came a terrible prophecy. It was foretold that he too would be undone by one of his own children. This curse would haunt his reign, transforming the victorious king into a paranoid and monstrous tyrant. The fear of this prophecy consumed Cronus entirely. Determined to defy fate, he devised a horrifying solution. As his wife, the Titaness Rhea, gave birth to their divine children, Cronus would seize each newborn infant and swallow them whole. One by one, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades and Poseidon were devoured by their father, imprisoned within his belly, denied their existence before it could even begin. Cronus believed that by consuming his offspring, he could erase the threat they posed and secure his throne for eternity. It was an act of supreme cruelty, a desperate attempt to outwit destiny that only served to make the prophecy's fulfillment all the more inevitable. Rhea was heartbroken, forced to watch as her children were stolen from her time and time again. Her grief turned to desperation, and her desperation turned to resolve. When she became pregnant with her sixth child, Zeus, she knew she could not allow him to suffer the same fate. She sought the counsel of her parents, Uranus and Gaia, who sympathized with her plight and helped her concoct a plan to save her last son. They understood that Cronus's reign of fear had to end. A new power was needed to bring balance to the cosmos, and this unborn child was the world's only hope. So when the time came for Zeus to be born, Rhea traveled in secret to the island of Crete. There, in the dead of night, hidden within a deep and secluded cave on Mount Ida, she gave birth to the future king of the gods. To deceive her paranoid husband, Rhea wrapped a large stone in swaddling clothes and presented it to Cronus. Blinded by his fear and haste, he did not inspect the bundle. He swallowed the stone whole, believing he had once again thwarted the prophecy. He was oblivious to the truth. His youngest son was alive, and the seeds of his downfall had just been sown. With Cronus deceived, the infant Zeus was safe, but his survival depended on secrecy and the protection of others. He could not be raised in the grand halls of the Titans. Instead, his cradle was a cave, his guardians the very spirits of the wild earth. Rhea entrusted her son to the care of nymphs, gentle and nurturing nature spirits named Adrasteia and Ide. They became his foster mothers, tasked with raising the god who would one day liberate his siblings and reshape the world. His upbringing was far from that of a prince. It was the clandestine education of a revolutionary, hidden away from the all-seeing eyes of his tyrannical father. Nourishment for the future king came from a divine source. He was suckled by a sacred goat named Amalthea, whose milk provided him with supernatural strength and vitality. Later legends would say that one of his mighty thunderbolts was fashioned from her horn, a symbol of the immense power she helped nurture. To further sustain him, bees would fly into the cave, leaving behind rich golden honey for the young god to eat. This connection to the natural world, to the beasts and spirits of Crete, forged a deep bond between Zeus and the earth, a foundation of power that was raw, primordial, and untamed by the gilded courts of the Titans. One of the greatest challenges was keeping the infant's presence a secret. A baby's cries could travel far, potentially alerting Cronus or his spies to the deception. To prevent this, Rhea enlisted the help of the Curetes, a band of armored male dancers. Whenever the infant Zeus would begin to cry, these warriors would perform a wild, clamorous dance. They would clash their spears against their shields and stomp their feet upon the ground, their rhythmic din echoing through the mountains. Their war dance was so loud that it completely drowned out the baby's cries, ensuring that his existence remained a closely guarded secret from the paranoid king. Hidden away in this Cretan sanctuary, Zeus grew at a phenomenal rate. He was no ordinary child. With each passing day, his divine nature asserted itself more forcefully. He matured with astonishing speed, growing from an infant into a powerful and intelligent young god, his body coursing with strength and his mind sharp with purpose. He learned of his father's cruelty, of his imprisoned siblings, and of the prophecy that foretold his destiny. His secret childhood was not just a period of survival. It was a time of preparation. He was gathering his strength, biding his time, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation that would decide the fate of the cosmos. Zeus knew the time for hiding was over. Guided by Metis, he freed his siblings from Cronus with cunning and courage. With Poseidon and Hades, Zeus declared war on the Titans, beginning the Titanomachy. The tide turned when Zeus freed the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, gaining powerful new allies. Armed with the thunderbolt, Zeus led the Olympians to victory. The war ended. Zeus, once hidden, became king of the cosmos. With the Titans defeated and imprisoned in Tartarus, the war was finally over. Silence followed the cataclysmic struggle, a blank canvas for a new world. Zeus, the victorious leader, stood ready to build. He and his siblings divided their kingdom. Zeus claimed the sky and Mount Olympus. Olympus became a symbol of a new era, a heavenly court. A pantheon of gods, each with specific duties, was established. This was the dawn of the Olympian age. Together they maintained balance and prevented chaos. Zeus, a king forged in war, now tasked with keeping the peace. Zeus wove justice and order into mortal life, not content to be a distant sky god. He became the great lawgiver, watching over assemblies and oaths, ensuring society's stability. As Zeus Xenios, he protected travelers and demanded hospitality, binding the Greek world together. Through these roles, Zeus was more than a king. He was the source of morality and the foundation of civilization. From his throne atop Olympus, Zeus watched all, his gaze piercing clouds, seeing gods and mortals alike. The Greeks lived in awe, knowing Zeus's thunderbolt could strike at any moment, enforcing his will. His justice was swift, his authority absolute, a force of nature, both protector and punisher. Yet, this vigilance brought order and the shadow of tyranny. The fire that put Zeus on his throne also sparked deep paranoia. Fearing a prophecy that his child with Metis would surpass him, Zeus consumed her, repeating his father's brutal cycle. His reign became one of suspicion and fear, targeting any threat, divine or mortal. When Prometheus gave fire to humanity, Zeus saw rebellion, not kindness. His punishment was eternal torment, a warning that defiance would be met with endless suffering. Zeus's dark side is revealed through his relentless predatory conquests, acts of power, not love. He became a master of deception, transforming into animals or rain to trick and overpower his victims. As a swan he seduced Leda, as a bull he carried off Europa, as golden rain he reached Danae. These were not romances, but violations, leaving suffering and tragedy in their wake. Zeus's insatiable hunger reveals a darkness at the heart of the Olympian king, the ultimate agent of chaos. Hera, queen of Olympus and goddess of marriage, endured relentless humiliation from Zeus's endless infidelities. Unable to confront Zeus directly, Hera's wrath fell upon his lovers and illegitimate children, her vengeance becoming legendary. Heracles, for example, suffered her torment from birth, facing deadly obstacles and madness at her hands. Hera's fury was not mere jealousy. It was a desperate attempt to reclaim dignity in a marriage that mocked her very domain. Zeus, the enforcer of oaths, broke his own vows with impunity, exposing the hypocrisy at the heart of his rule. Their tragic relationship revealed a kingdom built on betrayal, where the queen's pain was a public spectacle. Zeus claimed to be the ultimate judge, but his punishments often blurred justice and personal vengeance. When King Lycaon tested him, Zeus transformed him into a wolf and unleashed a flood to punish all humanity, a response far beyond the crime. Asclepius, who healed the dead, was struck down for threatening the god's order, not for wrongdoing. Zeus's retribution was rarely measured. It was a display of dominance, crushing any who challenged him. He punished Prometheus for helping mortals, Asclepius for healing, and Lycaon for questioning. These acts reveal a god more concerned with power than fairness. Zeus ruled not with wisdom, but with fear, ensuring all remembered who held the thunderbolt. Zeus's relationship with humanity was a volatile mix of patronage and punishment. Mortals were expected to honor him, and in return, he provided order and prosperity, but his favor was fickle. The myth of the 5 ages shows Zeus creating and destroying races of men, always judging, rarely satisfied. Humanity lived at his pleasure, always at risk of his wrath for the slightest offense. He was less a loving father, more a stern landlord, quick to evict. This precarious balance left mortals anxious, forever striving to appease a god who could be both benefactor and destroyer. Life under Zeus was a constant struggle to avoid his destructive attention. Hubris, mortal pride, was Zeus's greatest provocation. Sisyphus, who cheated death, was condemned to endless futile labor. Tantalus, who betrayed the gods, was eternally denied relief. These punishments were psychological tortures, fitting the crime with cruel irony. Zeus's message was clear. Mortals must know their place and never challenge the divine order. Ambition beyond mortal limits invited fates worse than death. Through these myths, Zeus etched a warning into Greek culture: defy the gods and suffer eternally. Humanity's ceiling was the will of Olympus. Zeus was not just a tyrant. He was also the father of gods and men, the source of kingship and order. As protector, he could save mortals from disaster, but his favor was conditional and could turn to destruction in an instant. The story of Baucis and Philemon shows Zeus rewarding the pious and destroying the wicked, embodying both savior and punisher. He was the rain that nourished crops and the lightning that destroyed. To the Greeks, this duality was the truth of existence. Power could create or obliterate. Zeus was father, protector, and greatest threat. His unpredictability shaped the world. Living under Zeus meant living with the constant tension of his favor and fury. Who was Zeus? He was both protector and predator, savior and storm, a force for order yet a terrifying tyrant. Rising from chaos, he forged a new cosmos, but ruled with paranoia and cruelty, punishing even the compassionate. The Greeks saw in Zeus the double-edged sword of power, capable of building civilizations but also crushing lives. He was a god to be respected and feared. The legacy of Zeus isn't about being good or bad. The Greeks worshipped a god who was mighty yet deeply flawed. His stories force us to question power, morality, and human nature. Zeus's struggles mirror our own, making him a timeless symbol of the dangers of unchecked power and the dualities of order and chaos. His myths still echo today, reminding us that greatness and darkness often walk hand in hand. Was Zeus the ultimate protector or the ultimate tyrant? His myths reveal he was both order and chaos, savior and storm. The king of Olympus embodied contradiction, demanding respect and fear in equal measure. Zeus is power itself, creative and destructive, a warning that absolute authority is always dangerous. He is the dark and brilliant heart of Olympus, a god of complex, unsettling truths that still shape our world. And the final, terrifying question remains, what will you choose to let out? Whether myth or fact, the legend warns, some doors are best left unopened and the greatest unknown may lie within us. It's a puzzle box with no key, a whisper in a quiet room, reminding us of the world is stranger than it seems. As our journey ends and the candle's smoke fades, what magic will you carry forward? Challenging us, repelling us, and forever inviting us to question the limits of our own will. The answer lies in understanding our capacity for darkness and light, and ask yourself, do you believe? Do you dare to explore the unknown, to confront the shadows that lurk in the dark corners of our world? We may stumble upon truths more unsettling than the shadows themselves. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of Zeus. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Horton's World Mythology for more explorations into the world's most fascinating myths and legends. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What other mythical creatures or legends would you like us to explore next? Share your ideas and let's keep the flame burning bright. And as always, stay curious.